On Pandora, history is not written in books or carved in stone. It is woven, worn, and sung. It lives and breathes on the body of the storyteller, a tangible chronicle of a life fully lived, where every joy and sorrow is given weight and form. This is the profound truth of the Navi Songcord, or Tsing in their language, a simple beaded strand that holds the entire memory of a person, and by extension, the soul of their people. Now, let's access the field logs and analyze the true nature of this incredible work. Our first and most intimate look at this tradition comes not from a grand ceremony, but a quiet, private moment. In Avatar, The Way of Water, we witness Kiri discovering the Songcord of her mother, Neytiri. It is not displayed like a trophy, but kept carefully, a sacred object pulsing with latent energy. At a glance, it appears to be a simple artifact, a length of fiber strung with shells, seeds, carved pieces of wood, and woven knots. But to hold it is to hold a life in your hands. This is the fundamental principle of the Songcord. It is a physical autobiography, a chronological narrative where each bead represents a pivotal life event. The Navi do not merely read their history, they sing it. The Songcord is a mnemonic device of profound power. By touching each bead in sequence, a Navi can recall the corresponding memory in vivid detail, the sights, the sounds, the emotions. This act of remembrance is a form of song, a personal anthem that reaffirms their identity and their place within the clan. When we analyze Neytiri's cord, we can identify key markers that align with her known history. We see a large, smooth shell, likely representing her birth, the first note in her song. Further along, a piece of carved wood, perhaps from the home tree, signifies her anointing as Tsaik to be. There would be a bead for her first hunt, a bead for bonding with her great Ikrin, Seizi, and then a bead of profound change, an artifact entirely alien to the Omaticaya. We theorize it is a piece of human technology, a shell casing or a shard of metal, representing the day she met Jake Sully, the day her world and the destiny of her people was forever altered. This single strand is not just a personal memento. It is a record of cultural collision and survival. The true genius of the Songcord lies in its intricate and deeply symbolic language. To decode it is to understand the Navi relationship with their world, where every object carries meaning, and every life event is rooted in the ecology of Pandora. The cord is not merely a collection of trinkets. It is a meticulously crafted lexicon of existence, starting with the very first breath. Upon birth, a Navi child is given their first bead, often presented by the clan's Sahib. This bead is typically large, smooth, and made from a material of foundational significance. For an Omaticaya child born in the home tree, it might have been a polished seed from the great tree itself, a tangible piece of their home, a symbol that they are and always will be, a child of the Omaticaya. This bead anchors the entire strand, the first resonant note in a lifelong song. As the child grows, smaller beads are added, chronicling the acquisition of essential skills. A rough piece of bark might signify the first time they climb the highest branches, their hands learning the texture of their vertical world. A tightly woven knot of vine could represent the day they mastered a complex snare, proving their ability to provide for the clan. Each of these beads is a lesson learned, a step toward becoming a contributing member of the people. The materials themselves are crucial. A seed from a plant with healing properties marks learning the ways of medicine. A sharpened stone flake commemorates the crafting of their first arrow. The environment provides the vocabulary for their life story. One of the most significant beads a young Omaticaya can earn is that of the Iknamaya. This rite of passage, bonding with a mountain banshee, is a transformative moment. The bead representing this event would be unique and powerful. We can theorize it would be a material sourced from the treacherous Hallelujah Mountains themselves, perhaps a piece of crystalline rock that comes with the magnetic energy of the unobtainium deposits, or a fossilized claw from an ancient predator of the skies. To earn this bead is to become a hunter, a warrior, and a true adult in the eyes of the clan. It is a symbol of courage and a testament to the Na'vi's symbiotic relationship with the creatures of their world. When a Na'vi chooses a mate, it is a bond for life, a sacred promise made before Eywa. This union is not marked by a single bead, but by a more complex symbol. It could be two different types of wood, perhaps from the branches of the trees they sat under during their courtship, carved to seamlessly intertwine. Or it might be a special fiber, woven by both partners and knotted onto the cord. For Jake and Neytiri, this moment occurred at the Tree of Voices, and their bead would surely reflect the sacredness of that location, forever linking their spirits. The Songkord's complexity deepens with parenting. As we observe in Neytiri's cord, the birth of a child adds an entirely new dimension. A small secondary cord is begun, branching from the parent's main strand. This new thread holds the memories of the child, their birth, their first steps, their first words. It is the parent's record of their child's life, which they maintain and add to until the child is old enough to take ownership of their own history. Neytiri's Songcord therefore becomes a family tree, with delicate strands representing Neteyam, Loa, Kiri, and Ta, a visual representation of her heart and her legacy. This deep connection to the local dialect means that a Songkord's language changes from clan to clan. If we were to analyze the Songcord of a meticulously reef person, we would find a completely different set of materials and symbols. Instead of seeds and wood, we would see iridescent shells, smoothed pieces of coral in varying colors, and beads carved from the black volcanic rock of the sea floor. A bead for mastering the breath hold technique might be a piece of translucent, sea-smoothed glass. Bonding with an elu would be marked by a specific pearl, and becoming a Tolkien writer would warrant a bead of immense spiritual importance, perhaps a gift from their spirit brother or sister itself. The Songcord is a living map of adaptation, proving how each clan weaves the story of its survival from the very fabric of their environment. But a life is not defined solely by triumphs. The Songcord must be an honest chronicle, embracing sorrow as well as joy. This is where we find the dark beads, the notes of grief in the Song of Life. A shard of obsidian-like volcanic glass might represent a great battle. For the Amaticaya survivors, a piece of charcoal or scorched wood would forever mark the horrific day the Sky People destroyed Home Tree. And most poignantly, the smooth, cold, dark river stone often represents the deepest loss, the death of a loved one. Neytiri's Songcord carries these heavy beads, one for her father, the great clan leader Decoding, another for her sister, Sylvia, and now a new, unbearably heavy bead has been added, representing the loss of her firstborn son, Neytiri, forever binding his memory and sacrifice into the fabric of her being. These beads of sorrow, while heavy, are not where the Songkord's purpose ends. In fact, they elevate it from a personal history to a sacred spiritual conduit. For the Na'vi, death is not a final silence, but a change in form. Their core belief that all energy is only borrowed dictates that a spirit, upon death, returns to the great consciousness of Eywa. The beads of loss are therefore not just memorials to an absence, they are tangible links to a presence that has simply rejoined the whole. The Songcord remains behind as a physical testament to a life that is now woven into the very fabric of Pandora. It is the story that persists, the song that can still be sung. When a Na'vi passes, their Songcord becomes an ancestral relic. A child can hold their parent's cord. A grandchild can trace the life of a grandparent they never met. By touching the bead for the great hunt or the bead of their union, they are not just remembering a story, they are communing with a spirit. It is a way to access the wisdom and strength of those who came before, keeping their memory, their experience, and their energy vibrant within the living clan. This practice is a direct physical manifestation of the spiritual connection we see when the Navi commune with their ancestors through the Tree of Souls. The tree connects them to the consciousness of Eywa. The Songcord connects them to the individual lives that are now part. Over generations, the clan's collection of song chords becomes a library of souls. We can envision the Tsahik as the keeper of this sacred archive, preserving the chronicles of heroes, leaders, and beloved family members. A young hunter facing their Ikni Maya might be permitted to hold the song cord of a legendary ancestor, to touch the very bead that represents their triumphant bond with their Ikra, drawing inspiration and courage across the gulf of time. This is how wisdom is passed down, not as dry instruction, but as a living, tangible inheritance of experience. It ensures that the clan's identity is not static, but is constantly enriched by the sum of its lived histories. Ultimately, the Songcord is the perfect embodiment of the Navi worldview. It is a humble, beautiful object that proves no life is insignificant. Each journey, with all its triumphs and sorrows, adds another unique thread to the grand tapestry of the clan's existence. It is the unbroken circle, a physical representation that a life's energy is returned to Eywa, but its story, its song, remains to guide, comfort, and strengthen the people. It is a profound rebuttal to any notion of the Navi as a primitive people, revealing instead a culture that has mastered the art of memory, transforming it from a fleeting thought to an eternal and sacred song. In this single handcrafted thread, we discover a truth that transcends words, that a life is not measured in years, but in moments of courage, love, and connection, woven together into a song that never truly fades. The Navi Songcord reminds us that every footprint left upon the world, no matter how small, adds a unique and irreplaceable note to the great chorus of existence, a melody that echoes forever within the delicate interconnected web of life.